Yay!
Woo!
We're here.
I want an
Hello,
MP3 of that
world.
music, man.
You what?
I want an MP3 of that music.
I was gonna say to ask you, like, did you make that or did you buy it or what?
Yeah, I made it a long time ago. Yeah, I think it was kind of when I was trying to do my first website back in like 2003 or something. I used that to play in the background, and it was just I never used it because it's just too much, you know.
It fits with the. I mean, it's funny because it's like, I don't know, it's almost so over the top that it really fits with the sort of
Yeah.
comedic part of it too.
Yeah. It was the one thing I had that really worked. It seemed like to me anyway. So I went for it.
It's fantastic.
It is.
But yes, I also want a copy so that I can listen to it while I work. So.
That's funny. Okay, well, I can send you. It's actually like 2 or 3 different parts that are loops that I created, and then it was designed so that when you go to one page on the website, it changes slightly to this other version of the song, and if you go to another part, it changes to this other version, and so it's kind of like probably like 4 different loops, and then I just kind of merge them together to make them work with the music, the show, with the art. So anyway, it's not really a song, but it's close.
What constitutes a song? I think it's a song. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just that it's not like if I were to send you the files, it'd be like 5 different loops that are like 10 seconds each or 20 or seconds. You know?
One of my, and I can never remember the name of it, but one of my favorite bands did this album release that had like, I want to say like 50 songs on it.
Yeah.
And but each song was like, you know, the longest one I think was like 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, a song's a song, man. If it's good, and you don't need to make it.
Interesting. I guess I could put out an album and it would have 5 songs on it already. It'd just be these little short loops.
Yeah, here's Jason making his own music. He's like, it's not really a song, and then we're all
Making us all feel bad.
I can play chopsticks on the piano.
Well, you know, I don't have the. Oops, someone else. Michael's trying to come in. Welcome, Michael.
Hey, Jason.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Right. It's time to draw.
Yes.
So feel free, everybody, to share your screens if you want to share them, unless it's secret.
Secret.
Mine is
Secret.
partly. I've hidden the parts that I'm going to keep under wraps.
That's
A little bit.
That's right. I have these really nice headphones on right now because I was hoping to make the audio better, but it's weird because it's noise canceling, and so I feel like I can't hear hardly anything that's going on because it's canceling everything out. Like it's canceling like my own voice, I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh.
And so I feel like I have to speak up so I can hear myself because it's not playing my voice through. Oh well, whatever. Does it sound? I guess it sounds good. It sounds good, right?
Yeah, it is.
Sounds okay.
Can you hear your voice in your head? Is that like distracting or is that fine?
It's a little distracting because I'm not sure if it's playing. Like when the music was playing, I didn't hear it hardly at all. And I'm like, I hope it's not dead quiet.
You really have no idea what you're saying because you can't hear yourself.
Yeah. I was on a friend's podcast last night. You guys know Skits Comic.
Oh, yeah.
And it started out and it was like he played the trailer and there was no sound coming through and we're both just sitting there like for the trailer. A little awkward, but it worked.
Roll with it.
Yeah. It was a fun show though.
Well, you almost hit the goal. It's kind of crazy. You're right up there.
Yeah. Oh, Michael's having trouble. Sorry, Michael.
No, it's all me. I'm new to this whole thing, so
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
You're doing great.
Yeah, that reminds me. I need to do something.
I'm a ginger, so I wasn't
So we
sure
got the
I could show
Indiegogo
up on
campaign.
camera.
Yeah, you are. I'll put you full screen if you want.
Oh no, I'll be trying to do that. I'll be like, too much pink for everybody.
So here. So everyone watching in the live stream, I have the Phobos campaign going. We're really getting close to the goal now. So check it out. You just saw the trailer play before this live stream show. And I wish I could scroll down. I can't seem to. Let me get my mouse. Okay, so we got the standard hardcover for $30, and once we hit $30,000, it's going to be a glow in the dark cover. So I'm super excited about that. You also have this collector's edition, but what you don't see here is it's going to be in a slipcase. It's going to be signed and numbered and all that stuff. So, and we'll still try to do glow in the dark on the slipcase. So yeah, we got a couple tiers. So check it out if you want. We also going to start unlocking some cards, some playing cards, hopefully. So anyway, and if you hate Indiegogo and you want Kickstarter, just wait till next month. I'll be launching it on Kickstarter next month for October. And then the other thing is cognitive drawing. I got the cognitivedrawing.com site running, which is basically, it forwards it to this strange Shopify address. But you guys can order cognitive drawing there if you want to learn to draw. We got bulk discounts. You get 25% off if you get more than one book. It's great for homeschoolers, great for classes and drawing groups and extended education. There's also the 90 videos that is me drawing all the exercises with you guys. So if you want to add that to your order. Anyway, so we got some quotes here. Man, I'm a salesman. Look at these testimonials. Let's read them together. Okay. So anyway, that's that. So check it out if you haven't heard of it yet. And I'm just working on Phobos.
I just got my copy today. Well, last
Oh,
night.
yeah?
And it's awesome.
Is it good? Hopefully it
Yeah.
didn't get beat up because a lot of them were beat up.
I mean, a little
Yeah.
mangled, but not bad at all.
Not as bad as it could have been.
No, it wasn't mangled or anything.
Yeah. Well, we shipped out about almost 30 new copies to people that said theirs got destroyed.
No.
So- Yeah. So that happened.
Yikes.
Well, it looks amazing, and I can't wait to really dive into it.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, and
scared to touch mine. I don't want to ruin it for some
Yeah.
reason. Like, I don't want to touch this.
It's in a display case.
And what's weird is, not weird, but I'm so out of my comfort zone. I was trying to contact Hobby Lobby to say, hey, like, can I talk to someone about pitching cognitive drawing? And I couldn't find any numbers, so I called the store and whatever. And no one, it was just like customer service. And so I did an online search, and they're like, vendor portal. And I was like, okay, well, I guess do I submit my book to the vendor portal? So I submitted cognitive drawing, and then it says, we have to approve you as a vendor. And then the next day I got an email, all right, you're a vendor. And I'm like, wait, what is it? What? And so here's your portal access login. And I'm like, what does that mean? And it's super complicated. I don't know anything about it. So I went down to the store and talked to one of the managers. I was like, what do I do with this? He's like, oh, you actually got in the portal? Oh, well, I guess that's good then. He's like,
I'm as surprised as you are.
like just call the number and try to see who you can talk to. So I did that today, and they're like, sorry, you have to just submit your question to the vendor portal.
Oh.
And I was like, okay. So I submitted my question, but according to the manager, he's like, well, they would probably start out ordering one book per store, and we have 800 stores. I'm like, I don't know if I'll have that many books. Plus, like, if they return them, what does that mean? So I'm just in this weird situation where I'm like, I don't know if it's real. I don't know if I should care, or if it's just an accident.
Hey, apparently
Right away.
Hobby Lobby will take literally anything. Not to like diss on you, but like, did you hear about they sold a bunch of like actual like museum historical pieces
I have not heard anything.
Okay, hang on. This is a little while ago. I'm gonna pull some stuff up so I don't accidentally say wrong things.
So my question is, they would take one book per store?
Yeah, I guess to start, this is what the manager said. He's like, we'd probably just start off with one book per store. All the stores have the same things,
Huh.
and so he's like, so their order would probably be 10,000 books, and I'm
Oh.
like, because they'd warehouse them and then ship them out when they need another one. And I'm like, oh, so I was like, how do I do this? Because I told him I could turn around and order in 1,000 books, so. I'm trying to talk to someone and just get some real answers.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
that's a great problem to have if I can actually pull it off.
yeah, it'd be kind of a really cool place to have it.
It would be
Perfect.
perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be a perfect spot.
Well,
why
that's exactly where that's where I got all of my first
Yeah.
drawing books from. Not that I bought them personally, but like my mom would buy them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw a bunch in there when I was in there a couple of years ago, and I was like, this would be a great place one day when I get cognitive drawing done.
Okay, so are you ready for the? By the way, this is far more insane than I'm. Like, Hobby Lobby purchased thousands of ancient artifacts smuggled out of Iraq by ISIS. They were in stores. Like,
What?
it's
Wow.
insane.
Like, what do these artifacts look like?
Like a tablet with Sanskrit on it, and like
They put it right next to I drink coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Tablet.
live, laugh, love.
They look so good together.
Oh, guys, one of the cuneiform tablets seized by the U.S. government from Hobby Lobby.
What?
Here's the picture. If you wanna.
Oh wait, yeah, let me get you on screen. Wait,
Oh.
they sold that in Hobby Lobby?
Yes.
What did they sell it
Is
for?
this
Like
real?
$10,000?
Yes, it was totally real. This is a real thing that happened.
I'm looking this up on, was it Snopes?
It's in a bathroom in Kansas now.
Oh my gosh! I wonder if I can find any more
At a diner.
Hobby Lobby artifacts.
I just don't even understand what's going on. Like, what they can't sell it for like $20. What's good? Or
Well,
did
that's-
they?
That's it, right? Like, okay, so let's
It
see.
depends
Here's
on
a,
ISIS marketing team, right?
like some of them are small, right? Like, so like there's another.
Wow, that'd be
Dang.
funny if it's like totally like anti-Christian, like writing on there, and they're selling it in Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
I don't even.
I have no idea. What happened to my screen? Oh, I just.
Hobby Lobby forced to forfeit Gilgamesh tablet. There's a lot of
Oh my
weird stuff
God.
that came out of this.
Oh man! So they were forced. They didn't even want to give it up.
They found out and they were like, "No, this is ours."
We have the market on Gilgamesh memorabilia.
Well, I'm gonna have to look into that. That's a fascinating story. I know the owner would go and find ancient artifacts, but I didn't realize it was sold then in the store.
From the way that it's been told, it wasn't like, "Yo, we're stoked to have all of these stolen ancient artifacts." I think it was like, "Wow, you really made these look like ancient artifacts."
Well, I came here today for silk flowers, but oh, I saw this cuneiform tablet.
That's a cute little ancient artifact.
I just picture the guy who had to buy all that stuff. He just gets this grainy video from the Middle East where they're like shopping their wares to Hobby Lobby, and he's like, sold.
I wonder if they went through the vendor portal.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you just, I mean, not that, because like your book is good and it's
But it ain't no ancient artifact.
No kidding.
like, if you just like, oops, I got onto the vendor whatever, then like, I don't know, like, can anyone do that? Is it like whatever, you know?
I just did an internet search and then submitted cognitive drawing, and I got on. I'm so confused, but I'm
I
happy
do.
to be confused trying to figure this out.
They're all rejected by like Bed Bath and Beyond and stuff. And they have
Looks like we had a few questions earlier on. Nia had a question
Oh yeah, let's look.
about your audio interface.
Have you thought about getting or using an audio interface?
As
Focusrite.
Huh. No, I haven't. But I feel like that would be too complicated for me, and then I would never use it after trying a couple times. I feel like it's okay. I can do this if I really want to hear my voice. Just move my headphone off to the side. It's not that bad, really. It's just different. Ben asks, what is the estimated postage to England for Phobos? Also, okay, so the estimate that I got, that's kind of, it would probably be in that range that you see on the website. Excuse me, and that range is based on UPS shipping from a fulfillment company here, and so there's a potential it'll be a lot cheaper than that. They didn't want to quote USPS because it's so up in the air right now, and so anyway, so that estimate is really, I don't know what to call it. It's really a loose estimate, but it's all based on me trying to get the best price for everyone because I hate charging people like $80 for a $50 book. It's just so annoying, but that's what I have to do if I print it out myself and ship it myself. And this company, that fulfillment company, got me really good deals last time because I found myself in a tight spot where the shipping was way more expensive than I quoted from USPS for international orders. And then I had them all packed, but they were like a lot of the packages were over $100. And so it was just going to drain everything from my bank. And so I shipped all the packages to these guys, and they use their bulk system through UPS to get the prices down to they were between 30 and 50 or something for packages that it would have cost me over 100 to ship. Wow. So anyway, but it depends on how many orders we have that are the same quantity or same box. Like the more of the same kind of package we can ship out from there, the cheaper it gets. There are certain rates that after so many amounts. So anyway, it's kind of complicated, and that's why I can't give you a really specific answer. But I will say, if I give you a shipping price once I do after the campaign is closed and you don't like it, I'll totally refund the order if you don't want to pay it. So I just want to let people, I should have put that up front on the campaign because I don't want people to feel like, oh, I got to pay this horrible high shipping. I don't want to do it anymore. So anyway, long answer. I'm sorry. Alan asks, I don't know if this was ever asked. Oh, wait, hold on. There was another question here. Also, as a YouTube member, how do I access Bold live streams? I've put them behind closed doors in a lot of situations where, you can become a member and members can get access to those old live streams. There was a couple that I deleted to just cleaning house. But yeah, you can, if you become a member on YouTube for like $2 or something, you can get access. And going forward, I plan on live streaming while I have campaigns, probably most likely every time, and then kind of putting them behind closed doors because I want the YouTube content to focus slightly a different direction, not just the creation of comics. And so that's why I'm doing that. And then, by the way, Cognitive Drawing arrived today. Looks great. Thanks. Good. I'm glad it arrived. And you're in England too, so that means the international orders are finally getting to their destination. Question. I don't know if this was ever asked before, but have you ever tried or considered Twitch streaming? Yep, I'm actually streaming on Twitch right now, but for some reason, it always forces my stream to be IRL. So every time I go live, it automatically puts me in the IRL category, and so no one cares in real life. So it's like it would be if we're just all talking about current events and not drawing art, then it would be perfect for that. But or we're a drama show
Oh.
in real life,
So
IRL.
just-
Yes.
I think the IRL category is, it's for like the people who do the whole, stand in front of the camera and it's just them and
Yeah.
talking.
I don't know.
I don't know. I
It just-
don't really subscribe to that stuff.
I don't know why, and I've tried a lot of things. Mia tried to help me work it out. I contacted customer service at Twitch, and they just said some worthless response that didn't do anything. And so I was just like, I don't care anymore. If you don't care, then I don't care. Thanks, Twitch. So anyway, that's that. But it is there, streaming there.
The drawing comics.
And
is
here we
not-
go. Mia has the link right here, twitchtv.com/Jason Brubaker.
Twitch is where I sell my Byzantine collection.
Yeah. All right, I think I'm caught up. Am I?
So,
What's your go-to sandwich? It is the Subway meatball sandwich. And if I could convince Subway to get the fresh mozzarella, then I would pay extra for that. So they did it once, and it was a special, and it got me hooked. And then they said, sorry, we don't do that anymore. And I was very upset. That's the end of the story.
Great story.
What you working on, Michael?
Like a comic called Alien Island. So right now there's like this RV chase down a river where this creatures kind of like rip it apart. And
What'd you say it was called? Alien
yeah,
Island?
Alien Island. And it's
Awesome.
going over the falls here. That's what I'm working on.
That's awesome. So, Michael, tell everybody about you. This is the first time on the stream. So,
This is my first time on any stream.
on any stream, you're doing good, man.
I'll try.
That's impressive.
Thanks.
There's like hardly any technical difficulties.
Yeah, except for that one where I disappeared.
So, yeah, tell us about yourself and tell us about your comics and where we can find you.
Oh yeah, sure. I have a website, madrabbitcomics.com, and that's where you could see what I'm working on.
You're more than welcome to show your website too if you want. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. I'd have to figure out how to. I guess I could just go online here and show you, right?
I
But
think
then
so.
I would probably drop out and disappear, and you'd be like, "What the heck?"
Okay. Well, whatever you want to do.
I'm not very tech savvy. Obviously.
We can start small.
Yeah,
Have
well,
some
it's
big
baby
things.
steps. It's baby.
Baby steps, yeah.
Let's see. I started in comic books, working on stuff like Spider-Man over at Marvel and Birds of Prey at DC. And
So that way, you're like, I started out working on Spider-Man. That's like every kid's dream, and that's how you started.
I mean, technically, that's with those companies. Technically, it was with Wildstorm.
Okay.
Wow.
When was that? When did you start with Wildstorm?
That was in 2000, 2001. So,
Okay.
So not only did you start on Spider-Man, but you started through Jim Lee's company.
yeah, I guess you look at it that way.
So you're just a really good artist and really talented.
But that was kind of a fluke thing because at the same time I was starting a job as a visual development artist for Hasbro. So I was doing a full-time job and then trying to draw comics at night. So that was a challenge.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
A pretty non-humble start right there. I got my biz dev job at Hasbro, and then Jim Lee wanted me, and then I was trying to do Spider-Man.
That sounds like a total like.
No, that's great. It's really cool.
I don't know. It's really making me feel like I should be here.
I haven't done much with my life. I don't know.
This isn't going well. No, kidding. This is really going terribly.
Next thing you know, you're gonna be like, yeah, and I was the president of Blizzard, and
Yeah, I know.
then
Right?
I made Diablo 3, and
I did work on World of Warcraft, but
yeah.
I drew a female cow for their loading screen, so it's not as glamorous as it sounds.
Ooh.
I don't remember the name. Torin, I guess the Torin is the name. But so yeah, anyway, I did start in kind of a foot in both worlds, visual development and comic books. But mostly the comics books was like the dream to do. So it was pretty cool too. What's funny though is when I was doing the Wildstorm stuff, it was at the tail end of kind of the 90s explosion. So you had this character called Backlash and all these characters I had to draw. But there was some weird vendetta that the studio had against the guy who created those characters. So my whole issue was these guys getting maimed and destroyed. So I was like, great, it's awesome. But,
Is that why it was called Backlash?
I don't know. He had these big whips on his hands, and I don't know. Backlash.
That's cool.
Very 90s
Yeah.
looking stuff.
So what Spider-Man's series did you work on then?
I did Peter Parker Spider-Man. I did a couple issues there, and it was weird because I just they tell you don't send in samples through the mail.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever, I'll just send in some samples. And that's how it worked. I was like, okay. But yeah, it was awesome. And then from there, it was like I did some Marvel Age Spider-Man stuff.
Okay.
And nothing I'm really proud of, really.
Oh, okay. Is it stuff that people can? Do you have links to it on your site and stuff like that?
No, because it's so bad.
Okay.
It's like it's some of the worst comic art you'll ever see. It's like, oh my god, what is this? But
That's
you could
crazy.
probably go to the dollar bin and find it or something.
Did you do just the pencils or inks as well?
I did all the pencils on those, and except for when I did a couple issues of He-Man, and I painted those in the computer,
Oh, cool.
and but totally different style. It was like not as cartoony.
Mhm.
I don't know. It looked a little odd. But the thing with that is when you're young, you want to do everything. So I was like, I want to do comics, but I want to do this visual development job at the same time. So it made the comic work suffer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I would get off work at like 6 or something. Then I would start on the comic book around 8 at night, and then I would finish around 3 in the morning and start the whole cycle again. So it's like 4 hours of sleep or something.
Things you can do when you're young.
Yeah. And then I was like, why do these characters look so mutated and gross? Oh, it's because you're not sleeping.
I want to see your.
Sort of fitting, right? It's superhero.
Yeah.
I want to see your bad work.
Yeah. See if I have.
I need to look it up.
Please don't.
I'm begging you.
I should have just been like, I worked.
I'm gonna.
Hobby Lobby, like in ISIS items.
I just want to put something in the thumbnail. That's all.
And I think you said Spider-Man, and Jason's ears perked up. I was like, oh, I have to
Yeah. That was always my dream. When I was younger. Spider-Man. I'd still love to do it.
I don't know if I have it. I don't even have that in my computer, but that was all when I was actually drawing on paper.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, that's the kind of stuff I love looking up. Spider-Man's my favorite hero ever, and looking up the weird stuff.
Yeah, I was on the heels of an artist that's really, really, really good named Francisco Herrera. And it was in an era where everything was hyper cartoony and distorted. And so because I was kind of in that vein of drawing these hyper characterized versions of everything.
Okay.
Definitely.
That's right. It's.
Period.
I remember when I kind of got out of trying to get into comics because I got into Hollywood, I remember there was a lot of more cartoony styles emerging right at that time. So
yeah, like
that's
Scotty Young popped in right around the same time, and those artists were starting to get work.
Yeah,
And
that's interesting.
I'd say like Joe Mad kind of opened the doors to it a little bit.
Okay.
How was it having someone else ink and color your work? Do you feel like it did justice to it, or were there times where it sort of aggravated you how your vision was carried off later?
That's a great question. I think when you're young, you blame everybody else for your own problems. That was the arrogance of the time, where at that time I'm like, these guys just don't get me, and it's really I can't draw well enough for it to be executed right, you know. And you look at the work and you're like, what did the inker or the colorist do? There's only one time where I was like, I had a color. I worked on this Army of Darkness short story for Dynamite, and that's the only time where I was like, I think the colorist didn't like me very much, you know. Like, and he was mad. He was always calling. Hopefully, I don't know if anyone's gonna see me talking about this, but he would like email me like, can't you ink these drawings? Because I did it in pencil, and then I wanted him to color the pencils because I like that look.
Yeah.
I was going for a specific look, and he was very upset with that. That's the only time I could lay the blame at the feet of somebody else. All the other times was myself. Because they'll ink as tight, like they'll ink whatever you give them to ink. And if you leave anything to interpretation, then you're kind of, that's the risk, right? You're like, okay, I guess this is, and that's the beauty of inking your own stuff is you're like, okay, I can totally only blame myself now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It goes really right, or you have to blame yourself for whatever goes wrong.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So the comics you're working on now, are you being paid for this?
Oh no, this is all just my
Personal project? Is it a webcomic?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Sorry. What you're working on now, is this like a personal project? Is this another paid gig?
No, this is all
What do you got?
creator-owned stuff. I just finished my series Flak Riot. I had started like 15 years ago or something, and finally finished it last year.
Wow.
So there's like from when it starts to when it ends. I tried to color it so it looks seamless, but you could tell like from the beginning and to the end, there's like there's some mileage there, and so I just finally finished that, and then I decided to do another graphic novel, and that's what Alien Island is, and I got the whole thing laid out. It's like 140 pages or something, and I'm about on page 80 something, 83.
Wow.
Right on.
And so do you just raise money on Kickstarter to self-publish? Do you have like agents to try to solicit it?
Right now I'm still learning actually. So I'm like, I think I'm trying to build awareness so that if I do kickstart Alien Island, I'd have somebody that knows about it to kind of.
Yeah. But that one that you spent all that time working on that you just finished, like, so where's that at? Can you?
Oh yeah. Well, this is a crazy story. The first issue I released through Image Comics.
Okay.
And then I was young, so I was like, I totally botched that because I didn't understand the market. So if you release your comic, because I was betting on, hey, the first issue will raise, I'll get enough money to pay all the people I need to pay for the second, third, and fourth issue. Ideally, you kind of like pay as you go, so you can keep your team going and you can keep the book afloat. What I didn't know is that all the orders on subsequent issues go down by half.
Oh yeah.
So you don't know that going in. So I didn't want to be the guy who didn't pay his colorist and didn't pay the right, just didn't pay for the thing. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to pull the plug on this because I don't want to leave people hanging and not pay them.
Yeah.
And so issue 1 was the only one that was released at the time. And so I kind of put it on the shelf because life happens.
Yeah.
And then eventually, as I got older, I was like, I really need to finish this thing because I don't want to be like this total flake loser. And,
Who only worked on Spider-Man.
but it nags at you when you don't have
Yeah.
this like you have this like half finished thing or quarter finished thing in my
No,
case.
I totally get it.
Yeah, and you're like, what have you
Really
done? And
So then
So-
you just worked on it on your free time then, is that
I
right?
did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then I self-published it
Yeah.
through. So it's like so far all the orders have been through my website and Big Cartel. I tried to do a Kickstarter, but I went against even your advice. I read your book.
A natural talent.
Yeah, Natural Talent, which I actually gave to another artist because they were going through the same thing. And I was just like, who needs a mailing list? And then my Indiegogo failed, and I was like, I guess I need a mailing list. So, yeah.
I mean, I've seen campaigns do it without, but there's another factor in there.
Yeah.
Like maybe they're just a real popular person, like Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
So
And then you go through that death spiral of like, my campaign didn't make it,
yeah,
but this one did. What am I doing?
yeah,
And then that's not good. So.
yeah.
Emailing Jason yesterday because I just found out about Comics Launch and I'd never heard of it before. I was like, have you heard about this? It's so awesome. Yeah, I've heard about it. But
Wait, what?
it's called Comics Launch, and it's a podcast all about kickstarting comics independently.
Really? Oh,
Like-
cool.
Pretty much what all of us do or trying to do. So
Comics Launch. I'll write that down.
yeah, I've listened to a few of their podcasts. I've like the last day, and they're really informative. He interviews a bunch of different artists, and they just go over a lot of the common questions and topics involving crowdfunding comics.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it sounds like he has some really good resources as well. So, and apparently there's a course you can take. I think there's a wait list for it currently, but yeah, it looks really amazing, or it is really amazing.
Nice.
Check it out. And comics, as in with COMIX.
Wait.
I'll actually put it in the chat.
Oh, the fancy spelling.
Okay.
Oh, looks like there's some questions.
Put it in the chat for the proper chat. I'll put it in private chat too.
Oh, you put it in the chat?
Mhm.
Okay. I forget who. Do you have admin status, right? Or did I never give you that? I must have. if you
I
put a link
can
in.
chat from YouTube, but not from StreamYard.
Okay. I don't know if anyone. Yeah, I think I'm the only one who can do this.
I think you are. So
Okay. Let's see. I thought I saw a question.
King Crow had a question at 2:56.
2:56. What does that mean?
The time.
12? Oh, 12:56.
I'm
King
sorry.
Crow. Yeah. There we go. I have drawn for a long time, but I'm having trouble with my sequential pages. Is there something that I can do to sharpen my storytelling skills? Practice making storyboards for movies.
I don't think. I mean, you're the storyboard guy, but I don't think that's going to help with like page layouts.
Sequentials. Yeah, storyboards will help with just telling a story visually, like shot by shot. But yeah, sequentially, like panels next to each other and layouts and stuff. It's a whole different world because you have a layout within the panel and then the layout of the page. Let's see, what was the book that you guys were all saying you didn't like, Making Comics? That's a good book, I think. So it dives into sequential storytelling a
Wait,
lot.
which book is this?
Making Comics by Scott McCloud.
Oh, I love that book.
Who said they didn't like it? There was
Anthony.
someone here. Hmm?
It was Anthony.
Anthony. Oh, no wonder he's not here. I'll disinvite him from now on. Poor Anthony. Yeah, Anthony didn't like it. That's right. But yeah, I highly recommend it. I liked understanding comics as well as making comics, but Making Comics was really good for just kind of getting a nice dive into just what makes certain panels work and not work. And I don't know, I don't know if it's like you need to follow it to the T. Obviously, rules are there to be broken. So,
Well, I think that's what I like about that book is that he gives you the ideas, but doesn't say this is how you do it. It's just like this is the 50 million things that you have to look at when you're doing it. And
yeah, it's really good. So I would suggest picking that up.
I've not done Making Comics, but I would say at least for understanding comics, he does explain why the thoughts behind why timing works so well in comics and really and where you understand the pacing. So I'm pretty sure that's in Making Comics as well.
I would definitely recommend both of those. He has another one that was in between called Reinventing Comic, which I would ignore. Question. So this is by Jada. So can something like Comics Launch work for graphic novels, which are intended to be books, not designs? I think so. It's Comics Launches. They just have a lot of interviews with people who have launched campaigns successfully, and they're just trying to put together is and strategies that generally work. So I think it's always going to be, you're always going to have to put on your entrepreneur hat though, because it's always evolving and changing. And what worked 2 years ago isn't really always the key to today with this kind of stuff. So, but yeah, there's a lot of great resources, good interviews and talks and stuff. I know I was on one of their shows for Kickstarter after I did my big Remind campaign, and then I also was on one of their shows for Patreon. So when I launched my Patreon.
You might need to go again and explain Indiegogo, because it sounds like he's trying to demystify that.
So he's trying to demystify Indiegogo?
Yeah, just from the most recent podcast, like the first few minutes, he was saying, if memory serves me right, he just started an Indiegogo campaign and he's still figuring it out. So go talk about that.
What you working on, Zach?
Oh, I just doing the same, testing some brushes I've made.
Nice.
Not making what was it? Chicken head? What was it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Nightmare Chicken.
Yeah, Nightmare. It's mascot.
Yep.
What was it called? This brush that kind of has a, I don't know, it's kind of like a wet marker feel to it. So, it's kind of cool.
Rayfield says you snitched on Anthony. Hey, he snitched on himself. He was proclaiming that very loudly.
That was all. Anthony has some good opinions, though.
This is true.
He always makes the conversation interesting.
It's interesting because I like the understanding and making comics like from an idea perspective, and I like the information that I get. But for some reason, I feel a disconnect when I read it. It doesn't feel intuitive to me. It feels like I'm downloading software or something in my head.
Yeah.
So it's like this challenge to get there because it's like, I don't know. I
Huh.
like it. And I think the information is good, but it's just like the way it's presented to me. It's not like what I would prefer. Like palatable, I guess is the word.
Yeah. I
And
think
that's
that-
not like a roundabout way of saying I think his drawings suck. I'm just saying, because I think he's talented.
Yeah.
I think that was also Anthony's argument. Is he was saying when he read the book, it was kind of during a time when he really felt he just actually needed to go make the comic rather than like, read more how-to books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just felt the itch, like I just gotta go do this instead of read. And when I read it, I was in college, and we actually had to read it for our like, curriculum. So of course you're like,
Got it.
sweet, I'll take this for homework.
Comic.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like where you encounter it on your journey is that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one of my actually first real major exposures to just the new thoughts and storytelling and what really turned me on the comics.
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes sense when you do see it. It makes a big impact. Okay.
Because when you're a kid, it's like how to draw comics the Marvel way, and it's really start off with like a thumbnail sketch, become insanely talented, the end.
Well, I think you mastered that one.
No, I'm just saying in the sense of when you're a kid, it's like soul crushing because you're like, how did you do that on one page? Like that sucks.
Step 1. Step 2, yeah, I'm done.
Step 2.
Step two, give up.
Step 2, you'll never be John Buscema.
So stop trying.
This book is hard.
It reminds me of like you've just seen that channel, that How to Basic. Where it's like how to fix your PC, and he starts like doing stuff, but then he just starts throwing eggs, and it gets really weird. That's how it feels. It's like there's this big jump,
Yeah.
of information you're missing, and then it just goes straight into throwing eggs, and you don't even know what's going on.
I guess, yeah, that's awesome.
Basically.
I wonder if there's a little bit more of a disconnect with understanding comics and making comics with younger people. And now, after the internet has made it information accessible really easily, because when I consumed that stuff, it's like the internet wasn't really the place where you found good advice. It's where you would go to find bad advice, you know. And so something like that book was really amazing in its time. But now it's like there's so many other portals of wisdom, you know, just like this one that we're on right now.
I like
amazing.
this portal of wisdom.
Speaking of which, go get cognitive drawing.
Portal. Oh, I just need to make that the show title. Portal of Wisdom.
Portal of Wisdom.
Write
That's
that
an
down.
interesting point you make, where more information or less was accessible online at that time, and it was just on the cusp of all these really just access to really good information was just starting to become available.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because now, you know, like the new generation of kids who are learning to draw, you know, they don't pick up on making comics, and they don't pick up drawing comics the Marvel way, you know, or any of those books that my generation just devoured, you know, because you don't even need a book, you know. Like I'll just Google search a PDF now of that book, I guess, you know.
Not
Um,
so for cognitive drawing, though.
That's right.
That's right.
You can get a PDF, but you have to purchase it.
Well, I think it's also, a lot of it sucks that it feels like there's less comic readers every generation. Because
Mm.
like my niece and her friends had no idea what comics were until she came over and she saw like this bookcase full of comics that I have. She's like, what are these? That's kind of sad.
Well, I wonder if that's just from your perspective, because when my kids bring home comics and graphic novels from the school libraries, and there's all these things that comic versions of everything now that they might be a little kind of dumbed down compared to what we would want to read, but there's a lot of that stuff being published, and kids are consuming it naturally. And so I'm almost wondering if when they grow up, if they're going to just naturally want to keep reading more, or if they're going to naturally think that's a kid thing, that's for kids, But there's a lot of it that kids can consume. Maybe not as much that adults can consume, but as far as the kid market goes, there's so much stuff out there now.
That is true. And I've heard that comics and graphic novels have been booming, especially for the young adults genre.
That's good if it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think maybe a lot of the parents might think, oh, comics are just, this, and this. So they're not going to go out and get the comics maybe for their kids. And it's maybe more the kids that sort of organically come across it on like webtoons or whatever accessible internet.
Yeah. It might be the direct market that we're seeing dying, but it seems like there's other markets that are not, that you have to go to a comic shop and actually look through their shelf.
I know manga is like booming. Like it's overtaking the Western market. Crazy. It's
Manga,
crazy
do you
to go
think?
to like a Barnes and Noble. You go to a Barnes and Noble and there's a whole aisle just of manga,
Mhm.
and then you got like 2 bookshelves of comics.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I've seen, depending on the Barnes and Noble I've been to, like decent representation of both, but I mean, definitely a whole aisle of manga, or at least a whole bookcases of it.
Yeah.
I've also not been in a Barnes and Noble for a while now, sadly.
Yeah, I remember I went to the comic book section to look for manga. I was like, oh man, they don't have manga in here anymore. That's sad.
What?
And then I asked them, and they were like, "No, man, it got moved." And I went over to where they had it. It was just in the entire back section of the store. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Found it.
So everybody, Fuzzy is a weeb. Confirmed.
What do you need to confirm it? I love.
Confirmed. You just confirmed it.
I would have openly confirmed it. Nothing to hide here.
You're weeb.
You keep saying it like I'm gonna be mad about it, but I'm.
No, it's not. It's not something to be mad about. It's just to confirm.
Nothing to be mad about. You're just a loser. That's all it is. You can be happy to be a loser if you want.
Well, weeb doesn't mean anything bad. It just means that you're a Western person that's into Eastern manga stuff.
Yeah, I'm I'm an otaku, bro.
Confirmed weeb. You getting angry, bro?
No need to get angry. Being a loser's fine.
Being a loser is your perception of being a loser.
All right.
I feel like we need to have some sort of like bingo card for the viewers, like whenever Zach trolls Fuzzy or whatever happened.
Sometimes I just got to get under Fuzzy's skin.
It's not a real stream until that happens.
That's not a real stream.
All right, Jessica, we're on your screen now.
Hey, look, more clouds.
Nice.
I'm always drawing clouds. You know, you go into like comics thinking you're always gonna be drawing something, and then it's like it's always clouds.
Or an RV from the 70s.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Or a crotch.
We said nothing that time, Fuzzy.
That's nothing to do with my stream.
Portal of wisdom.
This is the portal of wisdom.
That's the portal of wisdom.
The IQ slipped for a second there, but we'll get it back up there.
Portal of wisdom.
This is it.
Someone just needs to whisper it every now and then. And no one responds.
Where have you been all day? The portal. It's pretty sweet.
I miss
So subliminal.
That can be a counter to anything.
To anything? Where have you been?
I told you to go get the milk. Portal of wisdom. Okay.
My goodness. Mina said, I just got here and immediately see Fuzzy getting bullied.
That's my favorite part of my life.
Oh.
I look at my son as he's laying there sleeping, and I go like, he's got nothing on this.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, at least I'm not half the troll that Joseph was to his brothers. So, you know. And that was a pretty troll.
Wow,
like,
you really had to
last
think to go
night.
find that one.
That's a pretty big disconnect right there.
What, do I have to explain it?
No, but what? And my silence is from why? What? Why did you go there?
It's like I'm your brother, and you sold me off.
At least I'm not killing you.
Your brother. You know?
Oh, well then.
Yeah.
Fuzzy, why are you mad? I'm not trying to sell you as a slave. And I'm not trying to kill you either.
I mean,
As long as that's our benchmark.
kind of fun when you.
Oh my gosh! Imagine how different that story would be if it was like if he was mad because they were like, "Oh, you're such a weeb."
Oh,
What translation is that again?
portal of wisdom.
Like the Millennial Bible. Sorry. Oh man. All right, so actually I have a question. I've been accruing questions and I keep forgetting to ask them. because I'm starting to get to the point where I need to do things apart from art, like getting my website ready and books for print ready and all that. So, what, for those of you who have printed books, which I might just be, actually no, Jason and Zach, I think. What did you guys use to compile your, basically all your pages and your artwork and get it ready to send off the print? And did you
InDesign.
You can do either.
either what?
Photoshop or InDesign.
Okay. Oh, you can use Photoshop for that?
Yeah, because you know the bridge setting?
Okay.
Export things to Bridge.
Yeah.
Well, Bridge will actually compile it into a PDF for you. And you can set the all the dimensions. Pretty easy way of doing it, and that's how I did my last book.
Huh.
So
I've never done it in Photoshop. That's cool.
Hmm.
What about you, Michael? What have you used?
I just use PDF. Yeah, I just Photoshop.
Really?
Okay.
Okay.
But that's partly because I've never personally on my own done offset printing, which is like the huge bulk stuff. I just went to like somebody like Blam, and they have a template, and you just give them a PDF.
Yeah.
Actually, it's individual files if I think about it.
Yeah, I think I've just sent them TIFFs.
Yeah,
Sequence
that's what it was.
tips,
It wasn't. I didn't have to like get it in design or anything like that. But I think it's different for offset printing, right? You have to.
Yeah, if certain printers, want certain types of files, and the one I've been using always wanted InDesign files, or I don't know, maybe it's changed over the last couple of years too, to where it's a little bit easier to take different kind of file formats.
Right.
But that was always kind of the standard that they wanted from me, at least when I asked them what they wanted. So.
Because, well, the sale is over, but Eclipse Studio is running a sale, and I looked at it, and I just kind of felt that it wasn't really worth it. I mean, like, I didn't know if I needed that in order to get it print ready, but I already pay for Photoshop, so I kind of felt like that was going to be fine.
You paid for Photoshop? You mean you're leasing Photoshop?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the thing about Clip Studio is like you just buy it and then you have it, and it's an awesome tool for comics.
Let me specify. I have Clip Studio Pro, so I was wondering if I should upgrade to X. But
I like X because you can have all the page layouts, right? I don't think you can do that with the Pro. That feature alone it makes it worth it, in my opinion, especially if you can get it on sale.
You have really big files. Would it slow it down?
Yeah, it gets a little slow sometimes.
I mean, that's a part of your machine too. If you're, if you have an SSD or like what does that stand for again?
Solid state drive.
Yeah. And having proper RAM and stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah.
X has a lot of other features that I think are worth having.
So, and I kind of figured like I have ways of previewing files, so it looked handy, but not necessary.
So you're talking about it for the previewing and getting it ready for print specifically.
And I wasn't sure if I had how to send it off to either get it digitally printed or offset printing, like if it would be strong enough to be able to send to an offset printer, if they would even accept Clip Studio files, or if,
I don't know if they would.
That was my main question, and I was kind of like,
yeah,
so I'm not getting it this time, but
I don't have a whole lot of experience with Clip Studio and printing. I've always exported it and then brought it in InDesign and then prepared what I needed through InDesign.
Yeah.
But I haven't used Clip Studio as much as Photoshop either. I would like to use it more after I'm done with Phobos.
So would you say that probably the handiest part of it, of having X, was the multiple page that you can
For
preview?
me, that made a big difference. Just being able to have them all right there, and then when you're not assembling a book, but when you're working on the pages, you can, go back and forth real easily, and it's just really nice and organized.
Mhm.
I really liked that.
Maybe next time they have a really good sale, I'll look into that again. But
Yeah.
I mean, you get a lot with just the pro version, so I've been very, very happy with
Yeah.
what I've gotten so far.
I like the 3D.
Yeah,
preview.
yeah.
3D preview is such a cool thing.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. They do have.
EX also, I think, has things like animation and they
Oh,
do
that's right.
3D modeling like in the program, like so that you can put it behind your drawing and move it around behind your drawing, not have to keep like moving between two programs.
Have you used it?
What?
Have you used their 3D modeling?
Yeah, it's not bad. You gotta like if you want to make your own thing, you have to make sure that it's the proper file type to import it. But they've got so many of their own things that it works pretty well. Once again, if your computer can't handle it,
Mhm.
that might be an issue. But I've never run into that, so I don't know.
Can't handle it.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I've not used a ton of 3D modeling, just a little bit of SketchUp. But
I like SketchUp. SketchUp's pretty fun.
SketchUp does the job,
Especially if you're just trying to like throw it together really fast.
which
And
feels
then
like
I just do a screenshot on it. I don't even export it. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah,
exactly.
Mhm.
it's like, why? It's not worth it.
Right.
And the thing I felt stupid that I just learned is that you can save, like, while you're working on it, you can save angles.
See, I just learned that right now. And I'm so stupid.
No,
Right when you said it.
Like, just as you said it, I was like, oh.
I don't remember how to do it off my head, but you can look it up and you save an angle, a camera angle. So then like later when you're like, man, I really wish I hadn't
Oh wow.
moved from that spot, you can just,
Portal of wisdom.
Interesting. I'm going to launch another question into the
Yeah.
ether. So, Jason, you've done Kickstarter and Indiegogo in the past. Is there benefit to doing starting with one over the other? Like, does one offer incentives for doing your first crowdfunding with them, or is it just kind of just do one first and then do the other and it's fine?
I don't know if they actually have an incentive for being the first or anything like that.
Okay. No, not like a contract or anything, but being like if you're
Well, Indiegogo did have a contract thing to where if you can sign it and say if you go with exclusively Indiegogo and not simultaneously launch on Kickstarter, then they'll give you a certain amount of exposure if you hit certain numbers, but you got to still hit those numbers. It's like 25,000 and then 50,000 or 100,000. So it's still up to you to kind of make it big.
Interesting. Okay, I do. That makes sense. I remember you talking about that now.
But yeah, I don't know which one. It kind of depends on your project, I think.
Yeah.
Which one you want to do. I do really like the tools Indiegogo has more, like just the ability to add add-ons, to to your campaign. Like if I show you my screen, like like, so it's nice because it's really like, well, you can have visuals here in the tiers, so that's nice too.
Oh.
But each one of these, like if I were to select it and get this perk, hopefully I'm not doxing myself. Anyway, you can, like, this is all part of it. You can add on all these different things to your order, and it's just built into it, you know, like I can, and so I just put my whole back library in here. And so people can kind of customize their order however they want. Whereas in Kickstarter, you don't have that add-on feature built into it.
Okay.
And so you have to make each tier very specific to what you think people want. Like, do you want this combination or that combination? And so it just starts getting really, really cluttered after a while. And it's really nice to be able to have a clean page with instead of this going down forever, like, and then you can get this and this and this, but not that, and then there's this version, but that's this, and it's just like, I don't know. I'm kind of in the school of thought that if you give people too many options, they won't be able to decide.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
you know, and so yeah, there are the options because you can add the add-ons, but I don't know.
Huh.
I really like that feature. And then let's see, what else is nice about Indiegogo? So Indiegogo is interesting though, because, you know, people buy it, their credit card is run immediately. And then the money's in an account. They don't give you that money until after it closes or until you hit your goal, unless you do flexi funding. But the thing is, if someone wants to change their order, they have to actually cancel it, refund the money, and then place a new order. And so that's kind of annoying. Whereas Kickstarter, it just holds their pledge, and then they can change it all they want before the campaign is over. And then once the campaign is over, it charges everybody. So you can play with more things like, hey, can you add this to your order and, you know, up your order to this, or switch to this tier and you'll get an upgrade or whatever. And so that's a nice thing to play with Kickstarter. But it doesn't quite work the same with Indiegogo, because then it just makes people have to cancel and re-buy orders and stuff.
I see.
So anyway, they both have their strengths and weaknesses.
Interesting. And I mean, and I think you kind of we were talking about this earlier, but so shipping is not included in the price now. That's going to be something later on.
Yeah, for this. Yeah, for my campaign.
Have you done it that way in the past, or have you done
No, I haven't. I've just seen other people do it, and so I really like it because shipping's always been the thing that brought the most problems with every campaign and stressed me out more than anything, because I never knew. So I can't talk and work at the same time. I never knew what the actual shipping price would be until I go to actually ship the things. I didn't know what kind of bulk discounts I could get. I didn't know, you know, all these questions like shipping prices go up, you know, every 6 months or whatever. And so it's like certain shipping partners, and, you know, I've tried some in the UK and then in Hong Kong, and they quoted me this great, amazing price and this quick fulfillment turnaround. And then all of a sudden, when it came time to fulfill it, they're like, sorry, here's our rules have changed. Now you need to do this and this and this. And by the way, it's going to take 3 times as long, and it's going to cost 5 times as much. I'm like, what the heck? You know, like, why promise me something if you can't do it? So it just makes it hard to really know where that money is going to go once you raise that money. And so, and plus, Kickstarter charges you a 5%. So they're actually taking 5% of your money that's reserved for shipping. And so all those factors kind of combined, it just made me really like the idea of charging shipping. Once I got the full order amount figured out, I could tell exactly what, if I'm going to use a shipping company here, if I'm going to ship them to the UK to fulfill the international orders, if I'm going to try to do it myself, you know, what's it going to really be that I don't know until 6 months from now, or 3 months, or whenever we should do the shipping. And so it solves a lot of problems for me. And then I don't there's not certain people that get ripped off and other people that get a super discount, and it's all up in the air, and I don't know what's going to happen, So I don't know how it's going to work, like, at the end of the day, because maybe people will be confused that I'm charging them for shipping if they didn't read it, but I've seen a lot of campaigns do that recently, or not a lot, but a couple, and they're big campaigns. And so I'm like, okay, well, people are starting to get this idea. So as long as people are used to it happening, I think I'll be okay doing it.
Thanks for the tips.
So,
That's
yeah.
gives me a lot to chew on.
Here. Yeah. Oh, hopefully, I hope more people do that. Or what I really hope is that Indiegogo and Kickstarter will actually have a built-in feature where it would be so cool if Indiegogo would offer the fulfillment, and then they would give backers like the option to choose what kind of fulfillment they want, out of,
Oh,
I think that'd be sweet, but I know that's a big deal for them to do something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. I'm sure. I know BackerKit's they were talking about trying to do something like that, like just have a full package where they would just do it all. It's not there yet, I guess. I don't know if they're still trying to do that.
And I've heard you talk a lot about BackerKit, but what exactly is it?
It is like an organization tool.
Okay.
They do all kinds of stuff on the back end once you're done. So if you have a campaign over like 100 people and a bunch of add-ons and all kinds of stuff, it starts getting really hard to manage that stuff. And especially Kickstarter. Kickstarter's just, they have no desire to help you fulfill anything. And they make it's so annoying to try to, like, if backers aren't filling out their surveys and giving you their address, it's just like you have no options. Like, you can send out your survey one time and then you just kind of keep updating the people and saying, hey, by the way, there's people who haven't filled out their survey, or you have to email them individually or whatever. And the only way you can export it is like a big list. So then you got to like pick through it and figure out who actually filled in their survey. Since the last time you exported the huge list, you can do by tier and stuff. I don't know. I'm making it sound worse than it is probably. But it's too much. It's a lot of, like, you got to have some organization tools on your own somehow. Like, whether it's like you download the list and manage your own Excel spreadsheet, and check off things once you fulfill it or what. But then there's all the weird orders that have different add-ons and different communications, and they need to pay a little bit more for shipping or whatever. And BackerKit's real nice about just organizing all that. They when you go to ship, you can send that all to a fulfillment company, or you can do what I've done in the past, which is buy postage through them. And then they group all your orders, not by tier, but by what's in the package, because you might have stickers and a bookmark and a book plate in one, and it's going to be a little different weight than another tier that has a book and a free comic or something, And so they break it all down into groups that you can buy postage for that whole group all at once. I'm going to put someone else on the screen so that I can talk.
I'm sorry. I know I'm taking from your
It's
work.
okay. No, it's fine. And so in doing that, you see all these different groups, and it still might be 100 groups, because there's a bunch of weird little custom orders. And you put in the information into it, like a bookmark weighs 0.1 ounce or whatever, and this comic weighs this, and this other add-on item weighs this, and so you have this record of every backer and all the items, what all the items weigh, what the packaging weighs, and then you can buy the postage in bulk discounted bulk, not huge, but it's still a discount for that whole group, and it prints them all out at once. And then, okay, let's pack 150 of these boxes exactly like this, and again, like those might be from multiple different tiers, but they just happen to have the same contents because, of how it works out. And you can split the orders if you have a plushie and then medium L in one box and a plushie in another, you can't send it together. And so it just helps you kind of check these things off, and it keeps tally of who still needs to be fulfilled, whose orders maybe haven't responded to their survey. You can just keep mass emailing all the people who haven't responded. And it's just set up so it kind of handles all this legwork for you really well.
Wow.
And it's pretty a pretty big learning curve, but it really works well, and so then eventually, you just have a couple scraggler orders, and as people fill out their surveys, it imports them into the system automatically, and then it shows like, okay, now you got one more of this kind of box to pack, and so it's really nice at organizing in that way. And then you just know you're done when you're done, and then you shut down your campaign.
Yeah.
Oh, and another thing, I like sending out the surveys through BackerKit because you can keep sending them out if people don't respond to them.
Oh.
And then another thing about BackerKit is you can put in add-ons to your survey. So let's say someone somehow ordered something, but they didn't pay for shipping, like maybe they added some add-ons, but they never paid shipping for those add-ons. Well, BackerKit knows how much you put in this information, but it knows how much they owe. And so in their survey, it'll say, okay, you can put in the credit card to pay for the rest of your shipping that you're still missing. And then it says, oh, by the way, there's add-ons. You can add this to your order. And so they can add a bunch more things to it. And my sister campaign, my last one, I raised $15,000 extra through BackerKit surveys, just selling additional products to people, whether it's original art or more books. And so, that really adds up, and then it just throws that all into their package groups and organizes it for you. So anyway, so that's BackerKit.
Kind of sounds like an essential thing to have.
For me, it is at this point. It's like I did the cognitive drawing campaign without it because I wasn't offering anything except for one book or two books or three books, and they were not signed. There's nothing special about it. So I knew I could just fulfill it all the same. But even so, it was still a lot of work we're still like trying to make sure everyone has filled out their surveys still. There's still a handful of them.
Yeah,
And then there's the damaged books, that we're refulfilling and stuff. But and so it's taken a little bit more work to fulfill it, but it was an easy enough campaign that we could do it, even though there was like 900 physical orders, So, but they're all the same, so it wasn't really a horrible pain.
Do you have to purchase it, BackerKit?
Oh yeah, it's
Okay.
a service that you pay good money for it. But if you when you have a lot of backers and you have a lot of secondary products, you can really make a lot more on that.
Right. And it works for Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
It works better for Kickstarter because it links directly to it and it automatically pulls information. But Indiegogo, it still does work, but they have to kind of help you with it, and you have to kind of give them not admin access to your account, but like a team member access, and then they can like manually go in and pull information every day for you.
Okay.
So, but they're happy to do that, and they're doing that with my campaigns on Indiegogo, and then they also have. So they do a lot of things too. They also do advertising for you. So you can, if your campaign fits with their niche and their models, you can pay them to run ads for you, and they'll, they have a whole department that does doing that with specific campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
Like Doug Kniepel they'd helped him with his Earthworm Jim campaign. Running ads. They also have this thing called Launch. And so for people who have a lot of campaigns like myself, I've linked all of those past campaigns to my BackerKit account. And so I have like 11 campaigns worth of information in BackerKit. It has everybody's emails and how much every person has pledged on every campaign of mine. And so it shows my most amazing backers that have pledged on everything, all the way to like I can see that Cognitive Drawing only had 8% of past backers pledge on Cognitive Drawing. So that means there's a lot of new backers that got Cognitive Drawing that didn't get anything else of mine. So that shows me it's a very specific campaign,
Right.
for specific people. And but anyway, you access all that information, and it's really valuable, because otherwise you're just kind of guessing. How do I know if I'm hitting all my past backers? Well, do I send out an email to every single one of my 11 campaigns that I've done in the past and say, hey, by the way, I'm launching a new campaign, in an update? And before, that's what I'd have to do. But now I can it's kind of its own mailing list of everybody who's purchased from me in Kickstarter in the past. I can email them and say, hey, I have a new campaign. And then, and then it keeps track of like how people are responding to that and all that stuff. It's really good information. So in that sense, it's really nice.
Okay. Huh. Well,
Sorry, spilling too much stuff.
that's so helpful. No, thank you so much, because otherwise it takes me hours to try and figure this out myself. So just on that note, I have one last question. You've fulfilled a lot of your own campaigns before, but have you gone through a fulfillment company before, and was it worth it?
I have gone through, let's see, I started with, I think it was Citra 4. I used a UK company called ShipQuest. Their parent company is GamesQuest, but they have a secondary company, a sister company that's called ShipQuest, that mainly handles like Kickstarters, from what I understand. And I've used them for international orders, because they can just get really good international prices, or they could before. Things keep changing every year, and so what I did was DHL delivered all the orders, all the books and the products for the international orders to them, and they got a really good price on that delivery to ship those boxes of books to them. And then they fulfilled it, put it in their system, and fulfilled all the international orders, and then they charged me. So there's always been complications, though, because there's always been something going on in the world whenever I ship. And so anyway, it's always kind of been weird. Like that first time, it was so problematic. Like I didn't know where any of my orders were for like 3 months, and then finally everything started working again. And then this time it's the coronavirus stuff that's causing problems, and so they emailed me at last minute and were like, we can't do it, sorry, we're shutting down indefinitely. And I'm like, what? And so then I talked with this other company that's in Hong Kong to do the fulfillment, and we had conference calls and everything, and locked in all these prices. And then as soon as my campaign ended, they said, oh, new terms of service, your campaign needs to have $15,000 in shipping or more in order to work with us. And and I was like, what? You can't just do that to me the day that my campaign ends.
Wow.
And you guaranteed it too. You gave me this stamp of guaranteed we're going to be able to fulfill it at this price. And then they said, oh yeah, well, also this is a company where I was like, by the way, it's going to be 3 times the price we quoted and take 3 times as long. And I'm like, that was for Cognitive Drawing. And so that's why I ended up just saying, okay, let's ship all the international orders to the UK company again, ShipQuest, to have them handle it. And then the rest of them will ship straight to me, and then my wife will fulfill it. And so she ended up fulfilling them all.
Those were
all
for
the
the
domestic orders,
okay.
the domestic,
Okay.
because it was a simple enough campaign.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're at with that. And then now, let's see, there was the Citra 5 and 6 campaign. What happened? There was something, I forget. I blocked it out because it's too traumatic.
Okay.
There was something happened with shipping again, and I was going to just do it myself, but then UPS prices just shot through the roof. And so there's this shipping company that called MPAC, like the letter M and then PACK, MPAC fulfillment in central United States that some friends of mine have used. So I called them, and they were able to handle all the international orders so that I didn't have to pay $100 per order, or whatever the ridiculous price was. And so they were able to actually ship it within the budget that I charged people. But I had pre-packed all those orders, sent it to them, and then they just, printed out the shipping and put it on there and dropped them in the mail. So yeah, I've used some shipping companies, and I'm going forward. I will either have Impact do everything. It just costs a lot more. They'll charge me $4 per order just their to do the handling of it. And then there's picking fees. So, every new item they have to pick and put into the box. It's another, I don't know what it is, like 25 cents or something that they charge. So that's on top of the media mail or the postage price, and so instead of me being able to ship out an order for maybe $5, maybe $6 with media mail and packaging and just me doing it myself, is going to cost like $10 or $11 or $12 for them to do it, just media mail. And so it means I have to charge a lot more for shipping or eat that cost. But the thing is, they'll knock it out in 2 days, And so those are the things I have to kind of weigh. The other ideas, my wife's kind of interested in doing the fulfillment, but I would just have to give her like a month to do it. And then, I'll pay her like half of the rate I'm paying them. And it's still like big money for her. She could go buy a bunch of new clothes, So it's just, it kind of works out good for everybody, except it's just more pressure on my wife, and it takes a long time for her to fulfill maybe, all these complicated orders if there's all these add-ons and stuff. So those are the places I'm at. But I will say I never want to fulfill international orders myself again, or even have my wife do it, because it's just too much money for me to it's a lot of work. It's complicated. And things always get messed up. I don't know the specifics of every country and what they require, and as much as I've done it, it always changes. And it's always different for every country. And then it's just a ridiculous price that I'm charged. So no one likes that, So having a company like Impact do it, they have these bulk rates. They can do FedEx. They have huge discounts, and they can just handle it, and I don't have to stress about it. So going forward, I'm always wanting to use a shipping company for international, whether I use the ShipQuest from the UK and mail them all the books, or have what I did with Cogno Drawing is I had the order split from the printer. So at the docks, they just split the order, and 250 copies went straight to the fulfillment warehouse in the UK, and then the rest of them came to me. And so it costs a little bit more to split it, but then I don't have to get the books here and package them back up and freight them over there again. So yeah, there's a lot of logistics that are really complicated that I don't ever want to think about, but I have to.
Wow. Well, that's extremely helpful. So thank you so much for all those amazing insights. So,
Yeah,
about.
it's shipping's always hard though. I
Yeah.
don't think it's ever going to be something that's, easy to do unless you just have someone else do it. And then you don't have to worry about it.
I mean,
You
there's
know.
something to be said for just mental
Mhm.
health and actual sanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I took you away from your art, but that
No, it's fine.
extraordinarily.
Oh, Fuzzy left. And I guess it wasn't as interesting for him.
Come back.
Sorry, Fuzzy.
Come back to the portal.
Oh boy.
He must not like the portal of wisdom.
It's too much for him.
The big challenge for me is with the algorithms changing on things, just being able to get the word out without breaking your budget, because you have to, compared to like 5 or 6 years ago, you could make a post and it would go out to probably your whole audience,
Yeah.
whatever following you have, you would be able to like reach the people that follow you or want to see your work.
Yeah.
And now with the gatekeepers shutting that access down, it's like, how do you navigate and open up to an audience that is much bigger?
Yeah.
When you say putting a post out, were you referencing a specific platform?
Well, Facebook or Instagram, because they've all gone to a monetized system. So if you have like 5,000 followers, they will show your post to maybe, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a tiny fraction of that.
Huh.
And in
Yeah.
order to get outside the bubble of the people who normally like your stuff, you have to pay for the ads within those social media platforms.
Hmm.
So Facebook, same thing. If you have a page dedicated to your comic and you're like, hey, I want to share this with the world, you're really only sharing it with maybe 10 people. Like, yeah.
Felt like Facebook kind of, just from what I've heard, seems to be pretty buttoned down with that. And pretty much any platform will want to keep you there anyways. So
Yeah. Well, before I think it's just since everyone's migrated to social media, we're just playing by their rules. Before it was like you have a website, and a mailing list and your website and a blog and you update it. And so there was no like barriers to getting that to the people who wanted to hear it. But now it's like, it's all these weird barriers. We've gotten rid of the middleman, but replaced it with a different middleman kind of as far as the information goes.
So that was something I was actually thinking of is as I'm getting ready to finish this little mini comic, this little 32-page mini comic, my plan is to put out digitally for free so that people can actually access it and use that as a marketing tool for my graphic novel that is to come. And after talking with you, Jason, my plan is to run a little Kickstarter for this for a small, cheap print, little floppy comic. And so as I'm thinking about this, I'm just trying to figure out the best place to actually release this comic. It's only 32 pages, but originally I was planning on releasing it to Webtoons, but I'm kind of inclined to put it on my website for now, because then I can always go put it on Webtoons and I could go put it on any other platform that But then I'm looking at like upgrading my website to Squarespace, and then the question is like, well, what's the best, not plugin, they don't really do plugins, that's WordPress, but like what would be the best format I could use to put on my webpage? And that's kind of like, this got complex really fast. So
Yeah. I okay. What I'm thinking for you is one of the things that I've learned in polling my audiences is where people discover me from. And the biggest places are YouTube, live streams, podcasts, and believe it or not, campaigns, Indiegogo and Kickstarter campaigns. That's where people actually discover me. And so I don't think you would be unwise to just focus on a campaign as your launch. I know we've talked about building mailing lists and all that stuff, but if you haven't been able to do that yet, if you just put really beautiful work on there, and you might have 50 people discover you on Kickstarter, or 100 people, and if you have a cheap buy-in, for a comic, maybe it's not too much money, and you can fulfill it, and which you could easily through like something like Kablam. You could even have Kablam fulfill it for you, which is probably what I would suggest doing. They'll give you 10% off their printing price if they fulfill it, and you just send them the backer list. I've done that for Patreon. So, and they print great comics, So that would solve a couple problems. It would, or do a couple things for you. You would learn how to print your book first, so that's good. But you would also be doing marketing as well as just testing your pitching abilities, and you would start growing a mailing list through doing that too. So you could keep the fulfillment simple by just using Kablam, and then that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because you are live streaming, so you are starting to get the word out there. But it might not be huge, So I'd look at Kickstarter or Indiegogo that way, like as much as it is trying to get your comic out, it's marketing for you,
I mean, would you think would it hurt to still release it as a free?
I just don't know if it matters too much, because who's going to know about your website, if you just suddenly have it out there on a website, it's not like it was back in the day where everyone was looking for webcomic websites to go to and subscribe to. So I think it's a good thing to have on a website to, like, for like this show, like you could say, hey, go to my website and check it out and download the first, book for 30 pages if you join my mailing list, all that stuff, just enticing people to join your mailing list and all that stuff. It would give you a place to showcase it and all that stuff. Free marketing, well, you got to pay for the website.
Right.
Or whatever. And so that's good, but I don't think it's going to do much for your Kickstarter. Now, something like Webtoons and stuff, yeah, you could be putting it on there, but I don't know if you need to do that before Kickstarter. I think that's just more of a way to. Oops, I just messed up my monitor. That's more of a way to keep expanding that audience reach, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would probably get more views anyways than just website alone. So I would have to push marketing pretty hard if it's just my website.
Yeah, that's the problem. How do you do that now is the question.
Yeah.
And if you, I just, the personal website's kind of starting to become more mysterious to me. It's still super necessary because you control it, but I think it's more necessary when you have more products to actually sell, since it's kind of like a glorified portfolio now, almost, for you, like, hey guys, I'm Jessica, here's my comic, go to my website and I'll give it to you for free if you join the mailing list. I think that's still a really smart move, but it's not like you're going to have 100,000 views happening, unless you get on Oprah's podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have to explore those options, but.
But I do think it's looking at Kickstarter as a marketing opportunity. So yeah, having your website up is probably good, because once the Kickstarter is done, you can direct people to the website, Yeah, I don't know.
But
So hard to know.
It is. And it's interesting just because, nowadays, more than ever, we are having these new platforms that are specifically for digital comics, but now they're all coming like the other social media. They're coming with their own set of rules and stipulations, and even just reformatting to fit, that type their platform. So,
Yeah.
so it is interesting being like, like how.
Yeah.
Well, gotta see where those trends are going.
Yeah.
First thing first, finish it.
Exactly. And I think the Kickstarter is a good idea. That's what I would push you to do more than anything. It's because it is good marketing and it's good experience. It's you got to start small and build up. Even though my first Kickstarter was successful, it wasn't as big as what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still humongous for me at the time. And I had to learn. If I would have started out with a huge campaign, it would have wiped me out because I did so many things wrong in that first campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I like undercharged, so I charged $20 for a $25 book on purpose, and then I gave free shipping, and suddenly I was like, wait a minute, shipping is really expensive internationally, and so I was like, hey guys, I don't know how to do this, and people donated more money, to help with shipping, but it still ended up coming out of my pocket mostly. But imagine like that with my second campaign that had 1,400 backers. Shipping was even a nightmare on that one. But I actually, charged for it. I think I don't remember.
Becoming a blur at this point.
It is a blur now.
Yeah, so my intent is I'm going to keep it pretty simple. And I got to at least keep telling myself that, because after listening a little bit to the comics launch, I was like, oh, well, that's a good idea. And that's a good idea. And then I'm like, oh, perks and this. I'm like, okay, whoa.
Yeah.
Let's just start with a comic.
Yeah, you start with just
Perks.
real basic. Don't overpromise anything.
Yeah.
Like under-promise, over-deliver. And if you cannot, I don't think you'll be in a position to where you start getting greedy. Like if Kickstarter puts it on their homepage and there's just money rolling in, you're like, that's when you start making weird split-second decisions that you regret later. Like, I'll make a hardcover. It's like, how do I do this now? So
Just quadruple the shipping cost.
Free for everyone who buys the book.
Yeah. I guess they need to make that, art of book now and ship it and print it. What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Everyone loved it, but I need another freelance job now.
I was thinking, as far as just shipping, is like if I get anything, like any little perks, it better be flat so it can fit in whatever is nice and flat.
Well, also if you're, there's different things you can ship with different things. So like I try to do everything media mail, but you can't ship like stickers and buttons and stuff in media mail. It doesn't count, but people do it anyway. But if they ever open up one of those packages, they could ban you from using media mail. Apparently, I've never heard of anyone having that happen, but that's what they say. You shouldn't even have a signed book in media mail.
Really?
Apparently, depends on who you ask.
Huh.
Certain people say no comics, and it's because comics are considered magazines because they have advertisements, and you can't ship advertisements through media mail. But I'm like, well, I can't say it's a comic then because it doesn't have advertisements. It's really just a book, So it's how you categorize it and all that stuff. And so anyway, you can have all these perks and these different things. Yeah, I'll add this and this and this, but then you got to realize you're shipping another package, or you're upgrading from media mail to something else. Yeah.
Basically, the understanding that anything you put on is exponential. So
yeah,
it is. Yes.
But it's all learnable.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
It definitely does seem that way. I'm not too daunted. Maybe it's ignorance, but with something so small right now, I feel it's more of just a marketing tool for me at this point.
Yeah.
And a different way of getting it out there.
And that's really a blessing in disguise, the smallness of where you're at. You don't have to solve these big problems, it's like my campaigns, I worry now because if it does go as big as some of my past campaigns, I have to really plan it differently than if it's going to be a small campaign, and so, because you can really dig yourself in a big hole.
I think I'm going to answer my question just by saying this, but and again, this is just playing around with dates in my mind. There was a thought of like, oh, if I do it early enough, I could try and get it fulfilled by Christmas. But being like, you know what, that just sounds like a horrible Christmas. So
I wouldn't try that, and I'll just say the post office right now is going through a lot of changes,
yeah,
and so there's a lot of weird things happening with orders that I've experienced personally that haven't happened before. Christmas time, the month of Christmas, December, the post office is a nightmare to deal with because they get really annoyed with you when you bring in a bunch of bulk orders. They're like, "Why are you doing this during Christmas?" It's like, well, why not? Do you guys want to stay in business or not? Anyway, but there's such a huge rush getting presents and cards and stuff shipped that they're overwhelmed.
yeah,
And then, so that's happening. And so there's delays and stuff with that. And then you have the whole coronavirus thing happening right now too. So that puts a different strain on them. And so there's a bunch of factors not in your favor to try to ship out before Christmas this year. So I would just shoot for an early next year and just be happy with that.
That's kind of what I feel like the voice of reason was screaming in my ear, being like, don't do that. If you want out this Christmas, don't do it to yourself.
It's great to be able to say you can get it for Christmas and it's a Christmas present, but that's not the driving factor that people back your project anyway.
That's very true. That's a very good point. Well, I mean, that's even given like everything gets printed on time and all this stuff like. So, okay, thanks. I just had to run it by being like, that sounds insanity, but I'll just check it in case. Yeah, it sounds not fun.
Yeah. Expect delays, especially the first time you're doing something. Expect it to take twice as long as you anticipated for every step.
Sounds like it could help take pressure off a little bit.
Yeah.
Who needs pressure? Cool.
Oh, yeah.
I was also thinking like, I wonder if I could, it might be good to use Inktober as a way to start, maybe not in volumes, but at least trying to get a little more attention and marketing toward it, or just toward my work. So that's something I've been thinking about too.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Trying to use anything I can that is available.
Yeah.
Especially with the controversy right now.
Oh my gosh.
Inktober controversy, and then here's my new art and my new book's up.
I like the happy, uplifting things that people need right now.
You're joking.
Controversy is, I'm just like, it's Inktober. What? How could there be controversy over Inktober?
Oh, there is. And not the first time.
It's not really with Inktober itself right now.
No.
Well, actually, whatever. Anyways.
I'm just being facetious. I'm not.
I know.
I don't have an axe to grind.
I was like, this probably sounds good to mention something. Whatever.
But it did lead me to think that I could make a mock video against my work, and then I could get some kind of crazy controversy, and that'd be free marketing.
Worst Spider-Man ever drawn.
I traced this guy. And it's not true at all, but I've done it to myself. That'd be great. This guy sucks.
The controversy of the controversy.
Yeah. He tried to sell this at Hobby Lobby. Turns out it belongs to Afghanistan. What a jerk. My website just looks like TMZ with art. I have a headset. I'm like, here I am with this original art acquired from the diplomat in Turkey.
Spider-Man artifacts.
Yeah, all the faces in my Spider-Man comic look like the people had allergic reaction to bees. Like, anaphylactic shock. It's like,
You're just gonna want to make Jason see it even more.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I got to see this.
I'm digging a hole. This just keeps getting deeper. Like, no.
You're whetting our appetite.
Yeah, I'm never starting off another thing with, hey, what'd you start doing? I'll be like delivering pizza.
I with crayons for a very long time.
What was that?
That's where I started.
Zach, your mic is a little low.
Oh, because it's way over there. Hello? Hello?
There you go.
There we go. Shout it out.
Hello?
Oh, too much.
Quiet, quiet. Calm down now. Too much noise. Oh man, I need to stop and eat. What am I doing?
What time is it? Oh my.
It's way too late
Wow.
for me to be
Oh.
continuing to stream. This has been a long stream, 2 hours. I wasn't planning on doing this at all. I need to get back to my Hobby Lobby emails.
Use those artifacts.
Yes. Well, let's see what's going on in the comments. All right, you guys, you have a couple more minutes in the comments to ask any questions to the Portal of Wisdom. Fuzzy's gone. He says, guys, my computer just freaked out. I'll have to be done for the day. See you
Aw.
all later.
Oh,
I bet he said it just like that.
Bye,
And thanks for coming on, Fuzzy.
Nice meeting you, Fuzzy.
What program do you load your pages into? To SAP up printing InDesign?
So the conversation we had earlier.
Oh, so you already brought that question to light. Okay. Okay, I guess we got all the questions done.
Okay.
I stole from the Portal of Wisdom. Okay. I don't see any other questions.
Who hasn't stolen from this portal?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, he didn't hear it. So the conversation earlier was, it sounded like Photoshop. Depending on what the printers needed, they used Photoshop or InDesign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Photoshop or InDesign? I've never tried it with just Photoshop. I've always used InDesign, but Zach's used Photoshop with the bridge tool. And
Oh,
same with Michael, right? I think that's what you said, Michael.
Photoshop? Yeah. Yeah. Photoshop.
Cool. Depends on kind of your printer too. It's what
Yeah.
a lot of it depends on. So question, Jason, have you used Clip Studio to draw animation, even just for fun? I have not. I've used Blender with their grease pencil to do some animation tests, and I really like that. So I will keep experimenting with that. I think InDesign is still the best way. I think, especially the printers I've used. And
I agree with that. It's what it's designed for. There was one
has
more.
anyone found a way to compile for print using InDesign or Clip Studio? I looked into that at one point and I couldn't figure it out, so I don't know. Pass. I'll pass on that question. Anyone else want to
Wisdom
answer that?
the way to
No Portal of Wisdom.
yeah,
Dry.
the whole thing to PDF. So you do that, but it's. I think what it does is it just like basically like when you go into set up a new project, it has to do all that stuff that you have to set up, like how many pages you want, what size they are, you know what I mean, like all that stuff. You do that, and then based on those settings that you have on the whole project, and this is I have the EX, the Mega Edition. So I have, I can see all of my pages and everything, and then you can go to export PDF, and I'm pretty sure it'll compile it like the book, where it has a cover, back cover, and it labels it, everything. And I don't know, it really does depend on the printer, though.
Yeah.
Because some require that you do individual files, So, and it's like I want the PDF, the whole thing.
And I wonder if you start, like I started out with Pro, and I actually just set up all my pages myself. I didn't use the comic formatting, so I don't know if that's what you could also then, transfer over.
Will Terry asks Terrell, not Terry. Will Terrell asks one of the most important questions: is this where the party's at?
Yeah, where?
Yes.
Why is he in here?
Will, gotta make it happen, buddy.
Will.
Come on in. And then we have another question. Do you think that given the first comic of a series of 4 for free would be good for helping promote it? Giving the first comic of a series of 4 for free would help promote it. I do. I think anytime you can give away the first one, whether it's on your website or a mailing to join a mailing list or whatever, it's just more leverage to get people to try it. I think everyone wants to try before they buy now. So I think that's a good idea. I know authors do that, even like the digital type authors that sell a lot on Amazon. They'll offer the first book in their trilogy for free as just a continuing ongoing marketing campaign to generate new sales. At least I've heard people do that.
Yeah, I think
Didn't get the email about the stream. Where can I join the StreamYard? Send me an email and I'll invite you. That's right. All right. Well, guys, I am going to call it a day for streaming. I must leave the portal of wisdom. So we will be back.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
You're welcome. You're more than welcome to keep coming back and hanging out.
Cool.
You're a good guest. You got some knowledge and skills.
Whoa. Let's pump the brakes.
Spider-Man. This guy right here. This guy right here. Right here. Spider-Man. First job ever.
And has
World of Warcraft. Wait, list off all the amazing accomplishments again, because I am impressed. Yeah. So wait, actually, where can people find you, Michael? Because we don't really plug you very much.
www.madrabbitcomics.com.
Mad Rabbit. Let me type this in.
And I'm a freelancer now, so that's not that glamorous, right? So there you go.
No, that's glamour, man. Everyone wants to be a freelancer. Mad Rabbit Comics.
.com. My last name's O'Hare, so it's a little rabbit in a circle. Get it?
Nah.
Yeah. How do you spell your last name? It's O and then the dash, right? O.
No, not in the. Well, it's madrabbitcomics.com, so it's not.
Well, I just want to put your name in there, though.
Oh yeah, O''HARE, capital HARE, just like the airport.
Okay. Do you have a social media thing you want to use? See here, this is what I'm trying to do. Mike's screen. Oh, that's not your screen, though.
Thank you, sir.
Mike's screen. What? It doesn't have anything I typed in.
It says Mike's screen, which is really cool.
That is cool, but it's not what I tried to do.
Your very own screen.
Like the stock market.
Okay, I don't even know how that appeared. How did it say Mike's screen? I didn't type that. That's really odd.
You didn't? Really?
I didn't. I was typing I typed in your web address. Oh, I'm so confused. Okay, so let's do this again. www. What was that? Something about bunnies?
Madrabbit.com. Multiplying every day.
Wait, was it Mad Rabbit Comics or Mad Rabbit? Okay.
Mad Rabbit Comics. Mad Rabbit will take you somewhere else.
Ooh.
Don't go
So-
there, kids.
Maybe it might not be savory. I don't know.
And then
Share your screen.
oh, is that a dash or a hyphen? What is that technically called? O'Hare
Apostrophe, right?
apostrophe? I don't know how to type or spell.
It's
I
like
don't know anything about grammar.
It's capital O semicolon, capital H.
Gosh.
No, I don't know. What
The portal of wisdom is failing us now.
We're going down.
Failure. Okay, did I get everything right? Mike's
Yeah.
mad.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. That's nice.
All
Thanks.
right, Anthony's been on here a million times, and I still haven't done this for him. I'm sorry, Anthony. I know you're
Dang.
watching.
Should it be I hate makingcomics.com for Anthony?
I should. Next time you can come on. Okay, let's do it. All right. Hates. Making comics.
He was just very vocal about how much he did not like that book.
So this will be our little secret, unless he sees it. Unless he sees me doing this.
Was this another person who didn't like making comics?
Yeah.
This was Anthony. And it's mostly just because he saw it later.
Okay.
Not as young when I was wide-eyed and bushy-tailed in college. And so he was, I'd rather be doing other work.
I did it wrong. How do I do it? Sorry, this is a bad stream. So that's what
But
we'll put on.
it looks like because my page is up there, it's like I hate it.
I'm pushing all these buttons. Nothing's working the way I want it to work. I didn't want to put that on screen yet.
But we need to build that controversy. I'll be the fall guy.
Now we're promoting punching pandas. That's just not right.
How did
Okay, I think I got it now. Save. So now when Anthony comes on, we'll just put this on. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out. Everyone in the chat, thanks for hanging out. You guys that joined me, keeping me sane as I deal with Hobby Lobby. My brain is still spinning from this. I need to like email them back and try to figure out how to pretend like I'm a real vendor. Okay. So I will see you guys next time. Hopefully I'll come on tomorrow and we'll keep this up. And thanks for everything you guys are asking in the comments. And that's it. That's all I got for you. Portal of Wisdom over.
All right.